1. Introduction. What was the slave trade? The slave trade was one of the darkest periods in human history. It involved the forced capture, transportation, and sale of millions of African people, mainly between the 15th and 19th centuries. This system became known as the transatlantic slave trade, because it crossed the Atlantic Ocean. At its core, the slave trade was driven by greed, economic expansion, and power. European nations needed cheap labor to grow their wealth, especially in the Americas. 2. Early forms of slavery. Slavery did not begin with the Atlantic slave trade. It existed for thousands of years in different parts of the world, including Africa, Europe, and Asia. However, earlier forms of slavery were often not based on race. Sometimes temporary, allowed some social mobility. The transatlantic slave trade was different because it became racialized and permanent, meaning African people and their descendants were treated as property for life. 3. European exploration and expansion. In the 1400s, European countries like Portugal and Spain began exploring the African coast. They were searching for gold, spices, trade routes. During these explorations, they made contact with African kingdoms. At first, trade was peaceful and involved goods like cloth, metal, and ivory. But soon, the demand for labor in the New World, the Americas, changed everything. 4. The rise of plantation economies. When Europeans colonized the Americas, they created large farms called plantations. These plantations grew crops such as sugar, tobacco, cotton. These crops required a huge labor force. Indigenous people were first used, but many died due to disease and harsh conditions. This created a demand for a new source of labor, and Africa became the target. 5. The beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. By the 1500s, Europeans began forcibly taking Africans across the Atlantic. The system developed into what is known as the triangular trade. Europe sent goods, guns, alcohol,